We now have first-person intel from inside the Westview anomaly.
What are we looking at here? Is it an alternate reality, time travel?
Stand down!
What's going on, everyone? It's Semp. Welcome back to the channel. Episode of WandaVision came out last week and it was packed with content. So if you've watched it, let's break it down top 10 style. If you haven't, click off of this video because there's going to be a lot of spoilers. Before we start though, if you like Marvel, the MCU, comics, and everything in between, subscribe to the channel and do leave a like if you enjoy. New videos are posted weekly, but other than that, let's get into the video. Let's go. Now, starting off with number 1, this is going to be a quick one, but Vision said he was reading one of the twins a book, The Descent of Man by Charles Darwin. Now, this book refers to the biological evolution of mankind, referring to mutants in the MCU. It was a subtle teaser and a hint that they're on the way very soon, possibly in this show. We'll see. Number 2, I've seen a lot of people get confused about the twins aging. In my opinion, or what it looks like, it seems that they age during emotional or uncomfortable moments, right? Even as babies, and we see later that Wanda tells them to not run from their problems. So in this first scene, I think Agnes already knows this. Of course, she tries to comfort them first, and that's when Vision says no. So she plays into the whole sitcom character, but tries to incite Wanda on literally running the scene back from the top so that she can do what she intended, which was to get a hold of the twins. When her plan first fails because of Vision, she invokes them aging by enforcing an emotional moment for Paddington. Now, it's unknown now, but it seems like the twins are in control of themselves right now, which is a first in Westview aside from Vision. Stemming off of number 2, I think the villain is Nightmare. Mephisto at this point almost seems too obvious, and this entire show has gone opposite of the way people thought it would. Now, he never confirmed it, but Charles Murphy did post that Nightmare was possibly cast a while back, and he was to be seen in WandaVision. I'm not going to say 100% that the villain is Nightmare, but he's been right basically about everything for this show, so all I'm going to say is we'll see. Now, it is possible that Nightmare and Mephisto have a few crossover powers that enables them to act like one another in the MCU, similar to how Hela had some of Gore's powers, and now we are seeing Gore. So it's possible that Nightmare is the villain now, but maybe Mephisto is later down the line. But on to number 4. First of all, this scene had me on the edge of my seat, but when Wanda comes out of Westview, she ends the confrontation with, "I have what I want and no one will ever take it from me again." Now, she's clearly referring to Vision here as what she has, and my money is that director Tyler Hayward stole him. Now, the question is, did S.W.O.R.D. know that Tyler was running diagnostics on him? Did they know that he even had him in the first place? There's a lot of questions about this, but what it does mean is that Tyler vs. Wanda seems to be a very important piece to the puzzle moving forward. And you can see here, Wanda flips the guns at him in pure Magneto form. Now, I almost took this as a literal pointing of why she's so mad and how she became this mad. On to number 5 though, Monica says that she doesn't think Wanda has a political agenda in their first briefing of the episode. Now, one thing to mention is Monica doesn't know at this point that Tyler is the one who is potentially using Vision, and really none of them still do. However, there's a lot more that backs up this theory, so any further questions, let me know in the comments below because this could really take a full video to dedicate to. But Jimmy Woo refers to the situation as a violation of the Sokovia Accords and against Vision's own living will. Jimmy does say that he didn't want to be a weapon, but I think that Tyler has plans for that. And in the comics, obviously, the multinational group captures Vision and does testing on him. They're called Vigilant. It's possible he's part of that group, or he could just be a Skrull. Another good option is that director Hayward actually works for AIM. So keep this on the back burner right now, but Hayward did say that they were moving on to nanotech, robotics, and AI instead of manned missions. It's possible that they were using Vision to build Adaptoids and other synthesoids in the MCU. Number 6, Wanda says, how did this all start? Now, through the Vision quest, we'll see the beginning of this trauma occur, then the suffering, which we did get a very quick snapshot during Monica's testing. It was literally a 1-second frame. That will then lead into this scene, which we thought was originally going to be in the beginning, but it looks like we'll have our first look as to how the Westview anomaly started, or what they're referring to as the Hex now. Quick spoiler alert, if you're unfamiliar with the comics, Monica's results obviously came back very peculiar, almost like she has a power or energy within her. All this is setting up is that Photon is coming into the MCU, and we might see her powers very, very soon. Number 7, you can see that the drone Monica uses was an old Stark Industries drone from the 80s. Now, not only did it fit into the setting, but it was a subtle nod to the Stark name, keeping it alive in the MCU, but it also acts as a common occurrence of trauma because Wanda initially hated Stark, which is why one of the commercials that we see replicates the ticking of the bomb that killed her and Pietro's parents in the MCU. We once again see another commercial in this episode, and this one was centered around the usual. A paper towel brand called Lagos cleaning up the messes that you didn't mean to make. Of course, this is showing the Civil War scene where she killed all those civilians by accident. Number 8, the star of the episode, Mr. Evan Peters. Now, the Quicksilver Fox X-Men, as the Disney Plus captions translation stated, but is that actually him? Remember, Wanda has been basically in control this entire time on a surface level, at least what we see right now. But Wanda tells Vision, I didn't do this, and then looks surprised seeing Pietro. Not only because he literally looks different, but Pietro has actually been dead and has been dead for years. So once again, who is he? There's a few options, but I don't think he's actually Quicksilver from the Fox universe. Using him in this way adds to the fun of the idea, but I think Peters has actually been cast as a villain. He's known for American Horror Story, and I think he's playing the villain Nightmare, as I stated before. My idea for how this pans out is that Nightmare is using an alternate version of Pietro, basically puppeteering him. Another thing to also note is that he doesn't go by Peter. He kind of just looks at Wanda when she says Pietro and he just goes with it. Evan Peters could also be Ralph actually, which would be another cover up for the villain, or he's just the villain and he'll transform. Or he's actually the Quicksilver version from the Fox universe, or he's just a multiverse version with Evan Peters, or he's just actually Quicksilver with a new actor. Whoever it is, I think it's just the cover up because they're scared of what Vision is about to uncover, and knowing that he is so powerful, he actually could pose a threat to the Hex itself. This brings us to number 9, and they finally refer to the Westview anomaly as the Hex like I just stated. And they also say that Wanda isn't alternating reality, she's actually just rewriting it. They figure this out when Monica proves that her sword attire that she went into Westview with, the ones that turned into the 70s clothing, was actually just the same Kevlar material that she was wearing with the bulletproof vest. Knowing that there's hexagons all over the MCU, Kinda Culty also pointed this out by the way. They were shown in Age of Ultron when Bruce and Tony were doing diagnostics on the scepter, and the feedback that they kept receiving was a form of hexagons. Being that there's high levels of CMBR and hexagons in the Mind Stone, it's possible that the hexagons are actually a compound basic structure of what we know of as life, but in terms of DNA scepter for the Mind Stone. It's the complex energy or CMBR that created the stones as they state. As we know, CMBR is just an energy that was formed during the Big Bang, and that was when the stones were created. So if you think about it, the Hex could actually be a power source in terms of DNA. And as we know, the stone likely changed Wanda's DNA, giving her that form of CMBR within her body. It's possible that they use that as a way to describe mutants, however I think it's going to be something different. But in terms of this case, if you've noticed, Wanda has gotten extremely powerful over time, and even since we last saw her in Endgame to now, it's a crazy leap in power. So what I'm thinking is that because she is partly Mind Stone, or at least her powers were from the Mind Stone, what we could see is that she's actually drawing powers from an alternate reality, and this was allowing her to get to that next level. That power could have come from Nightmare, Mephisto, or whoever the villain is that is providing it to her.
It's true. She does draw power from the dark dimension.
So it's to the point where maybe Vision actually is alive, since the same building blocks that creates him in the Mind Stone are inside of her. She can channel that energy and maybe output it into the hexagons that we're seeing everywhere. Which now brings into the fact that the Infinity Stones could also be returning in some capacity. Now I don't think they will be as prevalent as they were in the Infinity Saga, of course, but they could have a purpose as well here now. And if you want to learn more about how the Infinity Stones can return in Phase 4 and beyond, click the card in the top right hand corner right now. On to the final and last Easter egg, the aerospace engineer that Monica refers to in text. People are saying it's a Fantastic Four member, but once again, the translation for the episode in other languages indicates that it's a female because of the conjugations being used. So that eliminates 3 of the Fantastic Four options, obviously. It could be Sue Storm, but I believe it's actually Talos' daughter. It makes sense that her and Monica bonded over the years, as the Captain Marvel movie alludes to this at the end when they were kids. but also the fact that Secret Invasion is right around the corner, and those Skrull hints have already started. But that's all for today. I'll have more WandaVision content coming out, but I also want to get into some other stuff like Falcon and Winter Soldier, Armor Wars, and that Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer just came out, which looked awesome. Of course, comment below what you think about this or ask me any questions you have. Also, let me know if you like the top 10 style, and maybe I'll do more of these. For all announcements and to keep up to date with my content, follow me at AnotherMarvelG on Twitter. All links to my socials are below, including where you can find the podcast. Episode 16 just came out. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe with the notification bells turned on so you don't miss any new videos. And other than that, I just want to say thank you. I'm Another Marvel Guy, and I'll catch y'all on the blip.